Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the City Council meeting for the City of Temple City, our regular meeting on December 5th, 2023 to order. Madam City Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Sternquist? Here. Councilmember Vizcarra?
Here.
Councilmember Yu?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez?
Here.
Mayor Mann?
Here. First off, I'd like to ask our city attorney to report out on the closed session that council was just in.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, the council held a special closed session meeting at 6:30 to discuss a conference with the real property negotiator. During that meeting, the council was updated on negotiations. No new direction was given. The direction stands as previously reported. Unanimous direction to cancel escrow and terminate the existing purchase and sale agreement if the seller does not complete performance by the date for close of escrow. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Next, please all rise for the invocation, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance afterwards. Dear Lord, our Father, thank you for gathering us here tonight to discuss the business of the city. In this time of the holiday season, we ask that we all be reflective of everything that we have, to be grateful for all the blessings that we have, and to be also grateful for all of the friends and family and the general community that makes what Temple City great. We ask that also in this time of turmoil worldwide, that you keep and protect those who live to serve and protect us daily, including our first responders, our Temple Sheriff's Station, our fire department, and all the volunteers in the medical industry that work tirelessly to keep us healthy and safe through this upcoming flu season. We ask that you also give us the wisdom and the clarity of mind to make sound decisions for the city that we all love, the city that we call home, Temple City. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag, put your right hand over your heart, the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, our favorite part of the meeting is the ceremonial presentation for our Temple City Library Bookmark Contest winners. This is what I think most of you are here for, and we are very excited to have everyone. First, I'd like to invite Ann Kwok, who is the Temple City Teen and Adult Librarian, up to the podium to give us a brief introduction of the bookmark contest. And after your introduction, we as a council have certificates of recognition for all the kids here tonight, and we like to present them to everyone.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for having us here. We really appreciate it. And honorable council members. So in September of 2023, all youth in kindergarten, from kindergarten through 12th grade, were invited to participate in our LA County Library's 44th annual bookmark contest. So bookmark contest aims to encourage the love of reading, but at the same time that they could promote creativity and their artistic expression. So each category, there's 4 categories. And so each local library do select one winner per category. And then after the winners are selected, the winners are moved on to the Board of Supervisors, and then they will select from all 86 libraries throughout LA County. And in the spring of 2024, the Board of Supervisors will select their 20 winners and then move on from there to honor them and print and distribute those winners throughout LA County Library. Now, for Temple City Library alone, we received 206 entries just for Temple City Library alone this year. So it's quite great that we have all these students who want to enter into a bookmark contest. Now, all the students worked really hard, and they put a lot of effort in their work. But of course, we only can select 4 winners. However, we do want to give some honor to those honorable mentions, so we also invited them here as well. So on behalf of Temple City Library, I want to congratulate all the winners as well as the honorable mentions. And we will display the bookmarks in the children's area in our glass window by the meeting room. So if you'd like to come by and see them, even I invite the council members and the mayor to come and see them as well, all the hard work the kids did. And yes, and that's it. And thank you for having us here.
Thank you so much for that introduction. And I also want to thank all the parents for bringing your kids here. It's also an honor and privilege tonight for us to be able to present these certificates to you. I ask that as we read out the names of each winner, we will present you with a certificate, and if you could please remain standing in the front, we'd like to get a group photo with everyone. And if I could ask the council to help me with the presentations up here. Thank you. All right, we'll start with the kindergarten to second grade category. First off, we have the honorable mention from Emperor Elementary. We have Lilian Quezada. For the same category, also honorable mention from Field Elementary, Valentina Kabustina. And the winner of the category from Highland Oaks Elementary School, we have Caitlin Sue. In the 3rd to 5th grade category, honorable mention from Cloverly Elementary, we have Victoria Wang. Oh, Victoria's not here? No? Oh, we'll save it for her. Also, honorable mention from Longdon Elementary, we have Ivy Yu. And the winner of the 3rd to 5th grade category from Valentine Elementary, Meredith Luo. All right. So for the 6th to 8th grade category, we'll start with the honorable mention from Cloverly Elementary. We have Caitlin Kuo. Okay, no Caitlin? Okay, we'll save it for Caitlin. Also honorable mention in the 6th to 8th grade category from Emperor. Is that correct? Emperor? Okay, well, for Eileen's son. And the winner of that category from Clover, in the 6th to 8th grade category is Kylie Chu. Now for the 9th to 12th grade category, from Temple City High School, honorable mention, we have Hillary Zhang. Also honorable mention from also Temple City High School, Aliyah Ploisangam. And the winner of this category, also from Temple City High School, is Evangeline Tang. Congratulations, and we'll get a photo with the whole group, and we'll also allow the parents to get any photos.
meet your parents. Here, go ahead, parents. Come on up.
All right, again, congratulations to everyone. Thank you for the parents for coming tonight. We really appreciate it. And we won't take it personally if you choose to leave the meeting because we have other stuff to discuss. This happens all the time. But you are more than welcome to stay. We are very happy to have a full house, but we all know you with kids, you have school. So thank you again for coming. Have a good night. Okay. All right. Next, we have a presentation from Athens Services, general update for the year. I'd like to invite Ms. Becky Cheng, who's the Athens Director of Government Affairs, to provide a general update. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Mann, Mayor Pro Tem Chavez, honorable council members. Becky Cheng, Director of Government Affairs for Athens Services, your waste and recycling partner for the city. I wanted to let you know also tonight I'm joined by my colleagues from Athens Services. There's Timothy Ye, Manager of Government Affairs, and Richard Ayala, Route Supervisor for the city. And many of you probably know him, seeing him out there with his drivers. So we're happy to join you today. Thank you. Oh, there you go. A little brief overview of what I will be sharing today. First is Senate Bill. Athens community support in Temple City so far. 2023 Q4 newsletter that we have sent out to residents. Holiday season, some of the important dates, holiday tree schedule, and what to do to prepare for the rainy season. And last but not least, I'll take some questions if council have any. Senate Bill, California Senate Bill 1383, 2016. It's a bill that's a state mandated organic food waste and recycling program. Basically, all Californians are required to place all their food scraps, including 100% fiber-based food, soil, paper products, such as paper plate, your chopsticks, your bamboo utensils, all in the green waste container. So for residential customers, before you have 3 carts. You have the black cart you put all your trash, including your food waste. The blue cart, which is putting your recyclables, and the green cart for yard waste. But now under 1383, you put all your food waste into the green cart. And the reason for doing that is because food, when food goes to the landfill, that's what creates what we call methane. And as you know, that's greenhouse gas emission that will damage our ozone and our atmosphere. So by reducing, by putting the food waste into your green, we will be able to turn them into, when we haul them away, we will turn those into compost. And these compost will basically, what we say, complete the cycle. Food turn into compost. Compost will give it back to the community, to the residents, and they can use them to plant.
Becky, does the food need to be in paper bags?
We would love for you to put it in a paper bag. We also accept food waste into a clear plastic bag. So when you go to the grocery store, when you pick up your carrots, you put them in the little bag, you can use those as well. Because once we haul it back to our facility, our machine will be able to break open the bag and to process the food as is.
So the food waste can go into a clear plastic bag?
Yes.
Or the paper bag?
You can do both.
Okay.
But it's preferably.
What about the white plastic bags?
That's not, we
is that
ask you not to do it, but clear so we can see it.
Okay, the white cycle bags, The white bags would go into the recycled bin then, probably?
It will be trash.
Yeah.
Because
Okay, it just goes in the trash.
in the trash, your
Okay.
black, because by the time those kind of materials, you can't really, it's no longer worth recycling.
All right.
So that's your regular trash.
So
Correct.
Becky, will
Yes.
you pull the plastic bags out?
Yes, yes, we do.
Okay, the clear ones that you can pull.
Yes, correct,
Okay.
correct, correct.
Do they
But-
make plastic bags that's recyclable?
Plastic, regular plastic bags, like your shopping bags, those are not, those are trash.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I also wanted to point out that Temple City is really the trendsetter in the greater San Gabriel Valley. Not only the city is one of the first early adopters of 1383, your compliance rate is actually 95% high. And that's extremely impressive. So I wanted to, this is really a testament of city leadership, the residents, and city staff for making this happen. So I want to make sure I highlight that as well. So some of the events we have done for the past couple months throughout 2023, we have been very active in community events because Athens is a company that believes in giving back to the communities that it serves. So Historical Society of Temple City, we participated in a lot of city events, National Night Out, this year's centennial celebration for the city. So we were very honored to be able to participate in many city events. And of course, Women's Club of Temple City, we're very active on that. And of course, last Friday, we are so happy to have an Athens truck participating in the parade. And we were able to deck up a truck that we use for the city and participate in last Friday. On the lower right-hand side, the photo is our division vice president, Stephen Lebraniak, with his family sitting in one of the trucks. And on top of that is we were graced with the ladies from Miss Temple City Court. So we're
Stephen had 5 children? Are those all?
I think he has 3.
Oh.
Two friends'
okay.
kids, yeah.
So his family grew.
Yeah, 3. That's correct. And actually, yesterday, Cal Recycle paid us a visit, paid city a visit.
Same haircut, huh?
That
So
looks
Cal
like
Recycle
Cindy.
is the state agency that oversees the implementation of SB 1383. And it does regular visits to local cities and municipalities to help them achieve waste diversion, recycling, and environmentally preferable purchasing goals. So yesterday, Athens, Cal Recycle representatives and city staff visited different residential and business customers in the city to ensure that facilities are operating according to state standards and making sure that permit registration conditions with waste recycling and food donation processes are in place.
It looks like they were at In-N-Out.
Huh?
Looks like they were at In-N-Out.
Communication. So every quarter, Athens Services will send out some useful resources, information to the residents and customers, basically both commercial and residential. So we did send out our quarter 4 newsletter beginning of November, and it included need to know stuff I will be sharing later on today in the future slides. Upcoming holiday schedule and when we will pick up your holiday tree, your Christmas tree. Recognizing the ethnicity and different communities in the city of Temple City. Moving forward in 2024, we will also make sure that all newsletters be translated into Spanish and Mandarin. I want to say that if you have signed up for e-billing, this newsletter will come to you in an electronic format as an attachment along with your bill. So make sure after you pay your bill, you can scroll down a little further to read all the important information we have to share with you. Holiday schedule. So if your collection day falls on a holiday day, your regular service will be basically done it was delayed by 1 service day. So Christmas, if your regular service day is on a Monday, and this time Christmas will fall on December 25th, then your service day, your trash will be picked up on Tuesday. And on New Year's Day, if it's, of course, it's a Monday, so again, your service will be done on the following day. If your service happens to be on a Saturday, which only happens for commercial customers, then your service will be delayed to the following Monday.
So if you have a Tuesday pickup, that doesn't impact you.
It will not impact you. That's correct.
Right. So you're picking up trash, double amount of trash, and you pick up the Monday ones and then Tuesday ones, both on a Tuesday, right?
That is correct. So when we come in on Tuesday, sir, the residential will be picked up on Tuesday, and Saturday will be picked up the Friday schedule. The commercial does, they tend to get ahead, that way we're not so far behind on Saturday, and we serve the Saturday customers.
Yeah, we do adjust our route accordingly just to make sure that folks get their services as soon as possible, so there's no confusion.
Oh, hold on, just to make sure, so the delay is only for the people on Monday? Because just
week, sir.
the whole week, right? So
Oh,
if,
okay.
if your regular day was Tuesday, it'll be pushed to Wednesday.
Push one day.
Okay, so everyone
that's
gets
what
pushed
Councilmember
over.
Yu was
Yeah,
saying.
you don't pick
Yeah.
up Monday
They
and
don't pick-
Tuesday.
They don't pick double.
You don't pick up Monday and Tuesday on
So-
Tuesday.
Yeah, if
No,
you're,
sir.
That's
There's
too hard to
no-
do.
There's no more double delay.
Yeah, right.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure because that was a question I was asking. If you were
yes, I
doubling up.
misunderstood.
So you know, basically, if you have a holiday that week, everybody got pushed out
Exactly.
one day.
So Friday route will be picked up on Saturday.
Saturday.
Right.
Not time for question and
Yeah.
answer, Steve.
Great, thank you. Holiday tree pickup. So we will pick up your Christmas tree, the first two scheduled pickup days after New Year's. So it will start on, I believe this is it's Tuesday the 2nd for 2024, and it will end on the 12th of January 2024. What we do is to ask that you ensure there's no ornaments, no lights, no tinsels on the tree when you move them out there, so it's easier for us to pick up and process.
If they had a small tree and it fits in the recycle bin, could they just throw it in there for regular pickup?
I suppose you can. There's no
Yeah.
reason why you cannot, because it's a
just
tree.
It's
Correct,
just
it's
a
organic.
real tree, obviously.
Correct.
Yeah.
But it's green organic, so
Yeah, okay.
that's correct.
Would you go back to what you said at first? I missed it. What about the trees?
Oh, no ornaments on the trees. No ornament removed
No,
when
I
you're,
heard that,
right.
but can we put trees out and you'll take them, I guess? is it-
Yes, so it will be it will be between the 2nd of January to the 12th of January, and it will be on your scheduled day. Yes.
Okay, let me ask a couple of questions here,
Yes,
because
sir.
I've been asked these two questions before. I just want to
Okay,
hear
sure.
from you. Number one, there's no need for residents to call you.
That's
Right.
correct.
Number two, if for whatever reason they put out the tree on the trash day and
Uh-huh.
you didn't pick it up,
Mm-hmm.
because I have residents asking me, so what am I supposed to do with it? Should I take it back?
You
So
can
your
always
answer
call.
is?
Always call our 800 number, talk to a customer service representative.
So if they put out a tree on a trash day, but for whatever reason did not get picked up, they should call you
That's
instead of
correct.
just letting it sit out.
That's correct, because I believe maybe the city has a city code that forbid you have trash out for overnight, correct? So I think the best way, the most efficient way, is to call us 800 number, and we will take care of it. Yes, sir.
Just want to make sure, because
Yes.
I've been asked that before.
Yes. Call our 800 number. We will make sure. And also to note that our customer service line has bilingual representatives, so who speaks different languages. So feel free to call us, and we would be happy to hear from residents, either it's concern, complaints, or even just compliments about our wonderful drivers. So we appreciate that.
Okay, thanks.
Is that it? Cool. Raining season. Some of the tips on how to prepare your waste and recycling needs for a rainy season. We do hope that you can make sure the trash lids are closed to prevent water from getting in. Wet trash is a little harder for us to process, so we appreciate if you can help us with that. And make sure your carts are at least 6 inches away from the curb, so making it, if it's a strong, bigger rain, that making sure that it doesn't get sort of washed away in storm weather. So, yeah. And that's all I have today. and I'm happy to answer any more
I
questions.
have a
Yes, sir.
follow-up question on the minimum 6 inch.
Uh,
Because we leave the 6 inch, but when we come back, oftentimes the trash can is 2 feet or 4 feet into the street.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been getting, at least I've been getting some complaints about that. you know.
Okay.
So what can be done? Sometimes they don't quite push it back because of whatever reason.
We will make sure that gets reported back to customer service and our drivers. Richard's here and he heard that, so we'll make sure that gets improved. But for whatever reason you have questions or concerns, always feel free to call our 800 number. Our customer service rep will help.
All right,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Becky. Does
you.
council have any other questions for Becky?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
It's kind of a pet peeve of mine that I still drive around on trash days and I see bins overflowing.
Okay.
And I know that they're not supposed to do that. How is
Correct.
Athens handling that? Today I saw one, literally the trash bags were about 4 feet above the top of the bin. And the top was open, obviously.
Uh-huh.
And they're just all sitting there in a big pile. What's the story on those things? I mean,
Well,
I would be happy if they didn't pick them up to let them know you can't do this. But I don't know if that's what Athens is doing or not.
out of courtesy, I think our drivers do our best to service. So most often, I'm sure it gets picked up. But you're right, sir, that how to make a point to let them know that overflow is not something acceptable. So we'll start tagging. If it's a
Do you
repetitive,
guys have a tagging service?
we
that
do have a
maybe
tagging
reminds them
service,
that-
correct. And
Okay.
eventually, maybe after 3 times, then we will make sure that they know about it,
Yeah.
and driver will actually come down. I've heard our drivers actually come and talk to the residents. But if it's a repeated incident, then we will
Because I have to
possibly
believe
start
it's
fighting.
maybe a safety issue too. I mean,
Yes,
'cause
correct.
the way they lift them up, they're just gonna fall out on the
Right.
street.
Correct.
Or something, or.
And you know, if trash overflows and when we dump, trash gets on the ground, our drivers actually come down. They're instructed to come get off the truck and
And
pick
pick
them
it up.
up.
Really?
Yes. So that's the type of service we provide at Athens Services.
You know, I know, and I was gonna, before you leave, I'm so happy to see you this evening because I have
Thank you, ma'am.
forgotten also to let you know that I need to talk to you. Someone in the commercial district sent me a text saying that they're so strict about commercial trash bins and send me the picture and it was maybe 2 inches
Uh-huh.
and got cited. But on my neighbors, I'll tell you, my neighbors are notorious for overflowing bins, and I even go and take some of this stuff and put it in mine, but I'm getting a little tired of that too. So I have no problem with you citing people who continually
Okay.
abuse the system.
Okay.
And the drivers are so courteous to do that. I've seen them pick it up, but it's not fair to them either.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it defeats the whole purpose of what we're doing.
Right.
I have a related comment. We have a lot of shrubbery on my property. And I do a lot of pruning. My wife has a big garden in the back. 1 can has never been enough.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can always order extra cans.
Well,
You just have to pay
Just
for
have to
it.
pay for them. What do you mean, why should?
I have
too darn
2.
small.
I have 2 green ones. Come get mine, borrow mine.
You have to agree with it?
I have a 60 and a 90.
Oh, I see.
Uh-huh.
If you get more, you have to
Yeah,
pay
and
for
actually,
it.
that was my follow-up question. Does your text say, sir, or household, since your bin's always overflowing, here are the, you can call this number and get larger bins,
Yes,
or
the-
get a second bin. Does it say that?
It will say call. The best way is always call customer service. They will help to right size you, what we call right size you.
Yeah, but people need to know that
Right.
they can get
They
a
can do it.
second bin.
People need to know that tag will say the reason why they did not get serviced and how to get a contact with Athens to make sure they get serviced by providing the right service receptacle.
How much is the second bin?
I will have to check with customer service, sir.
You can
Yeah.
afford it.
$8, I think.
I think you can
About
afford it.
I'm retired.
Six,
All right, well.
I'm on a
$8.
fixed income.
Yeah, but you get
No.
5 incomes coming in.
You got a big, no.
Good to see
They're
you.
doing a good job. You guys are doing a good job.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, yeah.
Glad to hear that. Thank you.
And the only, one last pet peeve.
Of course.
Sometimes they start a little early. I've had the trucks out there picking the trash up about 5:45 in the morning sometimes. Yeah, you know where I live.
Richard
so-
heard you.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Mondays are kind of like catch up but they do start, because sometimes is that the trash truck out
But
there?
he's up at 4.
I'm up anyway, don't worry. No, they do a good job. I feel for them, and you know what? Let me know if it's a problem, because my neighbors, for some reason, like to park in the alley, and it's like, there's a trash truck coming down today. You can't park there.
We try to reverse it there so we don't have to do it twice.
Yeah,
Just about the few girls.
yeah. So if there's a problem, I'll talk to the neighbors. So. All right, but they do a good job.
Thank you.
I will also say that they do a good job at navigating through the situation that Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, because I see that on and around my block. And the drivers know exactly what angle they need to get at to be able to reach it and not impact any vehicles. So I just want to say kudos to your drivers for having the skill to do that and being so considerate.
Thank
I
you.
think that's
Thank
very
you.
important.
They are all well trained.
Yeah, and it's at least anecdotally, it's rare to see any trash that gets spilled over and stays in the street. So I heard you mention earlier that they're instructed to pick up,
Pick up.
which
Actually pick
I
up,
think
yeah.
all of our residents appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I haven't
Thank
seen
you.
too much trash in the streets.
yeah, I don't
Just
either.
just
yeah.
trash cans in the street.
Okay.
In the street.
Not trash,
I
but
see
trash.
a lot of that.
Got it.
Yeah.
We'll make note of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank
It's really more of a safety concern for me because you sometimes got both, and then if both are trashing out in the street, and then you got two cars
Maneuver
coming
through.
at each other, it's just kind of
A-
tight.
And one thing I've noticed is, for whatever reason, some residents actually leave their can on the sidewalk at the edge of the curb. They're not supposed to do that, right? It's supposed to be on the street.
They're supposed to be on the street. I do have a handful of residents that want theirs on the sidewalk.
Do you wanna come
due
to
to the
the-
fact of being endangered going down Temple City Boulevard south.
Uh-huh.
It's all painted red, so the cars are already squeezing, there's no parking. So I do have a few residents that want it on the sidewalk. So my drivers are close, wherever you pick up the gravel from, put it back where it's at.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's where it's at. So there is some areas where it is red, and the car's ready to squeeze by, going down Temple City, just past Olive, going southbound.
Oh, yeah.
It's very tight there, and cars
Yeah.
could hit the barrel and it could create an accident.
I have one other question, clarification question, maybe even for the city as well. Because we have a lot of flat lots in the city, so I saw some of the flat lot neighbors, because they got just a tiny little bitty curb. So they've been stacking the trash cans. I think that will end up is that your driver had to drag them over and all that. So really a question, probably more for the city, is that city street is owned by the city. A flag lot owner should feel free to leave the trash can in front of the neighbor's house. I know it's just kind of people don't do that, but it's just weird. I see people stacking up 3 trash cans in a tiny little curb, and we're talking about blocking the street. So I don't know, there got to be a way to deal with that. I think they should be allowed to put even in front of their neighbor's house, because it's a public street.
Right, and we'll take a look at that. And Mr. Ayala has worked the Temple City quite. I've known him since the entire time I've been here. So we can sit and chat and figure out maybe a more efficient way. When we went to the 3-bin system, there was some challenges with the flag lots and a couple other locations throughout town. So we'll take a look at that. See what else we can
Maybe
do.
there's a policy or something that you
We can-
advise folks.
Certainly take a look at that, Mayor Yu. Councilmember Yu.
Yeah.
He hasn't been mayor for a while, has he? He hasn't been mayor for a while, I don't think.
Do you have one more? Yeah.
Anyway,
I wanna say, was that, you told me to.
Go ahead.
I wanna compliment you on your drivers. I think they're excellent, they're very courteous and cooperative. And I don't think it's just because I'm on the council, it seems to be that way with my neighbors too. So congratulations.
They always wave, and I see them, they wave hi in the morning. Hey, how you doing?
And they are the original drivers from when you guys used to have hand toss.
Yeah.
They are the same drivers, so they've been here quite a long time.
I was gonna ask if there's any way that Athens in the newsletter, maybe it's in this one and I didn't see it, but we can remind the residents that you can call when you have bulky pickup. That's all you need to do, is call, put it out the day before they're gonna come. I think what happens frequently in the city is that people are either not aware of it, or they just figure eventually we're gonna wear down the Athens truck people and they're just gonna put it into the trash bin. Because sometimes I'll see mattresses out for 3 weeks, coming up and down my street or around the city, sometimes bulky furniture, and I know it's still there 2 weeks later because nobody took the time to call. So if there's any way you could put that in the newsletter or remind people that they can get that picked up, but please have the courtesy to call so not the whole neighborhood's not having to deal with your mattresses outside.
You know, you don't even have to call, I do it online.
Okay, or online.
Boom, 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 you just do it online, tell them what you have, and then they'll send you a note saying, okay, we're gonna pick it up, and boom, done.
Doesn't one address only get one pickup?
I'm sorry, repeat the question, sir?
Can you get multiple pickups at the same address?
On
Bulky
on bulk,
pickups?
yes.
Yeah. There's no limit, right?
There's no limit to
No
bulky.
limit
As long
on
as you
bulk.
call.
Yeah, as long as you
Or
call, you
online.
can
Yeah, no limit on bulk.
Or go online.
You could put a mattress out every week and.
Yeah, if you
Yes,
want to
sir.
buy a new mattress every week, yeah, sure. Yes, I mean, but the fact of the matter, they would not pick up unless you call. I mean, you can leave it out, but they would not pick it up.
You know what, I hate to say it, it seems to me in the city, I've noticed, and I brought this to Brian's attention, and the city seems to be pretty good about it. People move, and rather than taking stuff, they just throw it out on the curb. And they figure, okay, I'm not living here anymore, I don't care, I'll just leave it there.
Happens all the time.
And that's the problem, that's why you see things out there for a while, until somebody notices, oh, well, they're not here anymore. So,
Yeah, you see that for units that are rented out,
yeah,
not for
yeah,
a long
rentals, yeah,
time.
exactly, rentals.
You get a lot of the
Yeah, so-
desks, mattresses.
But, you know, every time I've called Brian and they'll send staff out there or they'll take care of it, so one way or another, we'll get it taken care of. Just let us know.
The code enforcement staff has been focusing on that specifically in November and December. And we actually have a meeting with Athens set up, I think, in a week or two to kind of strategize for that as well.
Good.
Well, thank you so much for coming here tonight,
you,
and
Becky.
we appreciate the presentation and the updates. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a happy holiday.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Next, we move on to public comments on items not listed on the agenda. First, I'd like to turn it over to our city clerk for one quick announcement.
Thank you. Yes, Mayor, City Council, we did receive a written public comment, and I just wanted to announce that in the record.
All right. Thank you. Next, for public comments, first we have Ms. Dawn Taryn.
Thank you. I would like to add to Athens. I think you guys are wonderful, and they are all. I agree. The drivers and the street sweeper guys are just wonderful. So thank you. I actually wanted to thank the city council and the city for another successful Lights on Temple City. It really is an event. Yes, I do the Camellia Festival, but Lights on Temple City is all hometown. And I wanted to congratulate the staff on all of their hard work and then the youth committee, and for the tree people and the maintenance people and the hard-working Parks and Recreation staff. The focus on the schools and the performances that take place. The Royal Court, Miss Temple City, the city council being in the parade, it's really the one time that we really just have a real focus on Temple City. And I wanted to take the opportunity to thank you guys for having such a wonderful event, because I knew that we were going to have a lot of different people there, so thank you. I am going to add one little thing. I also, since we have a member of the Temple City team here today, I would also like to give a shout out to them. They were recognized by the Women's Club of Temple City on Saturday, and I wasn't able to attend, so congratulations. So thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Don. Next, we have Mr. Steve Stafford.
members of the city council, Mayor Pro Tempore Chavez, Mayor Mann, council members, city staff. We got a problem with the streets where I live, and I know there's a problem with where Mayor Mann's relatives live. And it's gotten real acute. I fell down after the last council meeting, trying to get my trash cans out. Biggest problem is Athens wants them in the street. I want them at the back of the curb. And when they pick up my cans, they leave them halfway out in the street. They need to be against the curb or up on the property, not in the street. If you go down Golden West, and I wish you would go down there below Live Oak and see the bend there, how close they are out in the street, even against the curb. You know, the city of Arcadia has Western Waste Management, and they want those on a narrow street up above the curb. And they want those cans, the city wants those cans back above the curb when they're done. Right now, a lot of times those dumpsters are out in the street. They don't put them back where they should be. And I fell after the last council meeting 2 weeks ago. And I'm on different medications to help me cope with it with my rheumatoid arthritis. I'm handicapped. What have you done for handicapped people? That's gonna come back and haunt all the trash companies, because there's nothing there for the handicapped. Eventually, the federal government will see it and overturn the laws that the state passed as being unconstitutional for handicapped people. My second problem is, 2 nights ago we had another explosion in the city. These people continue to launch these big rockets and whatever else they're launching. And it's going to cause a tragedy. You're either going to have a big fire or somebody's going to get hurt by the shrapnel from them. I had an uncle that's the rockets they're using, they're mortar rockets. I had an uncle that got hurt from a mortar rocket in World War II. My mom's second oldest brother. He stayed in a state hospital the rest of his life because of it. You know, I know what I'm talking about. And the sheriff's got a helicopter over to the Seventh-day Adventist Church looking for these people. They live off of Broadway, apparently. They've discovered a party house over there that does this. And they had some big parties there recently. And it needs to stop before somebody gets hurt, seriously hurt.
Mr. Stafford, I
Thank
just
you.
want to thank you. All right. Is there anyone else who would like to address the city council at this time? All right. Seeing none, I will close public comment. We will move on to the consent calendar, which could all be approved in a single motion, unless council wishes to pull any items.
Motion to approve consent?
We have a motion and a second. Are there any objections? All right. Seeing none, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Sternquist?
Yes?
Councilmember Vizcarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Yu?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez?
Yes.
Mayor Mann?
Yes. Mr. Stafford, I would ask that if you could please communicate that outside. Steve?
Mr. Stafford.
Thank you. All right. Next, we move on to public hearing. We have none. Unfinished business, we have none. We go into item 10A, new business, request for appropriation of ARPA funds for pickleball court conversion at Live Oak Park. Mr. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor Mann and members of the council. The staff and I would respectfully ask if we can continue this item to the next meeting with some clarifications on some of the elements of this item. So,
Okay. Thank you for the update. Unless there's any questions from council?
Do we need a motion and vote on this? No.
no, sir.
All right. So this item will be continued at our next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you for the update. We move on to item 10B, update on permanent local housing allocation. And again, I will turn it over to City Manager Cook.
Thank you, Mayor Mann and members of the council. Before you today is actually an update from city staff, and Mr. Reimers will brief you. If you remember, it's been a long process through the PLHA funding program through the state of California, which the initial idea of this, and we went through very long discussions earlier last year in terms of some of the program eligibility and the narrow program eligibility that the permanent local housing allocation program has. If I was to break it down into compartments, it's either construction, assisting those with existing dwellings, or programs. And what has happened over the last few months, which Mr. Reimers will go over, has made the construction element much more challenging. And we think we are suggesting that the council allow us to pivot this program to more programmatic efforts. And Mr. Reimers will talk about that in a few moments. And talk about the challenges, some of the things that have come up, and some of the suggestions that we have going forward, moving to more of a programmatic role with these funds, very similar to what you did during COVID-19, and some rental housing assistance for those who are at risk of homelessness. So, Mr. Reimers, if that's okay.
Yes. So tonight what we're looking for is feedback from the City Council and direction on whether we want to change the direction for the PLHA funds or whether we want to continue on. Just as a matter of history for those in the audience, back in 2017, the state passed Senate Bill number 2, which set aside $75 in recording fees on real estate transactions. And that $75 is supposed to go to local jurisdictions to assist with providing affordable housing. So in 2021, the City Council approved a PLHA program for years 1 and 2, and that program is shown in the table below. And basically, most of the money would be set aside for a program that would originally was designed as a grant program. It would provide a $25,000 grant to a low-income family to make changes to that house for improvements that were related to accessibility. So if a disabled person was living there, how do you make it more accessible? They also set aside funds for participation in the San Gabriel Valley Regional Housing Trust. And so those numbers are there. The first year we had $124,000, and the second year there was $194,000. This year in January, the City Council approved those ramp guidelines. And then in July of 2023, when we had submitted the guidelines to LACDA for their review, but LACDA continued to work with the Housing Community Development Department on how those programs should be run. And at that time, back in July, the LACDA notified staff that there were potential prevailing wage issues, and they instructed us to hold off on the program until they had gotten instructions on whether prevailing wages would apply to this program. And then in October, LACDA came back and told us that the RAMP program would definitely need to be subject to prevailing wages, and also told us that the program would have to be redesigned as a loan program rather than a grant program. So prevailing wages, for those who don't know, is a concept that requires contractors to spend additional funds more than in a typical circumstance, which adds on additional costs for the labor of a project. So in this instance, the project cost would increase by at least 25% and possibly more when we include the prevailing wage costs. That means a grant which typically would have been around $25,000 would now cost about $30,000. And it could potentially reduce the number of grants that we could provide from 11 to 9.
Scott, can I ask you, what's the rationale about prevailing wage? I mean, why was that set up if municipalities are putting monies into their community and yet they're charged 25% higher than, say, a resident or someone else who went out to get, monies to fix something. I just don't understand why that was put in place.
So this goes back to Public Works kind of bidding projects and proposals. And the idea was that in order to stop companies from bidding out projects at very low hourly rates to those workers, that there should be some requirement that you pay your workers what similar workers would get paid in that region. So what that typically means is that a Public Works contract would basically follow union wage standards. I think from the state's perspective, if we're providing fair wages or higher wages, that's good for affordable housing because then those people are receiving higher wages. They're not competing for lower cost housing. So it's kind of solving the issue from two different sides. But in the end, it's the Department of Industrial Relations who decides whether a government project needs to meet prevailing wage laws. And in this case, that was the decision.
Okay. Thank you.
So one of the concerns we have is really with obtaining bids with that limit. If you're doing a very large public works project, millions of dollars in projects, those public works contractors are very used to doing prevailing wages. They have people on staff who are used to doing that auditing. In this case, we're talking about local contractors who don't have any experience with prevailing wage laws. And we reached out to two of our contractors who typically do our CDBG loan and grant projects, and they told us that they would not bid on projects of this size and this complexity. And then in addition just to having the contractor have their own auditing, then there's also auditing requirements that would be on the city to ensure that the contractor has done all the necessary work for prevailing wages. So then that would add even more administrative costs that would either come out of the project or it would come out of the general fund. Our biggest concern is that we don't want to move forward with a program if we're not going to get bids on projects, because then we may get stuck at the end of the year not having spent the funds. We then lose the funds rather than doing some good in the community. So in addition to the prevailing wage issue, we also have concerns about the requirement that we move the program from a loan, from a grant to a loan project. While for some people that wouldn't be an issue, with our CDBG program, we do get people who would frankly rather do a smaller project that's a grant if they don't have to take on the loan. A lot of people don't want to have to take on that deed of trust on the property. They have concerns about the loan, even if it's not an interest-bearing loan. They still have that, they don't want that sense of debt. So it's hard for us sometimes to get people to sign on for that. And so one of our major concerns is that because HCD and CDA and the Department of Industrial Relations has been batting this around for the last 2 years, and we now have until December 31st, 2024 to spend these funds. So we're left with 1 year to spend 2 years of funds.
Who determines the rate of interest on these loans?
Well, in the CDBG program, the city can set the interest rate on the loan, and we could do the same with the PLHA program. When I first started in the city, we had a low interest loan. No one wanted to take it because interest rates were so low. So then we had to come back through and remove the interest. We had to go basically to a zero interest loan at that point. So
So a zero interest loan is like a grant.
yeah.
Like a no loan.
Although when they sell the property, the benefit to the city is that when they sell the property, they do pay that back in a lump sum, and then we can use that to fund other projects.
It's a lien against the property.
Yeah. So we get to use that for other projects, which kind of multiplies the program. So one option that we're putting together tonight is just to keep proceeding with the RAMP program. Maybe you want to make some minor modifications, but if you still want to keep at it, we can keep at it. Option 2 would be to reprogram those funds. And one of the options we wanted to put to you tonight is using these funds to focus on assisting families that are at risk of homelessness. And what that might look like is running a similar program that we did under COVID-19, where we had a temporary rental assistance program. We marketed that to people. We would come in with about 3 months of rental assistance. In that case, it does have to go to low-income people. And we would really try to focus that on people who are at risk of homelessness. Maybe they've lost the job, maybe they're not able to make payments. So what we would be, if you wanted to move forward with this option, what that would look like is we would put together what's called a Notice of Funding Availability, or a NOFA. We would describe some parameters for the program. If you have interest, like if you want to focus it on families, we could put that into the program. If there were certain priorities you wanted to do, we could put that into the NOFA. We would put it out, and then we would see the responses we get back. Organizations like Foothill Unity Center in Monrovia, Family Promise, perhaps Door of Hope might be interested in bidding on this or contracting out with this. And then they would develop some program guidelines for us to review and just kind of further describe the project. So.
Do you have any idea how do they get paid? Do they take fees out of the program, or how does that work?
Right, similar to the CDBG program, we're allowed to spend, I think, between 10 and 15% on administrative costs. So that's what they would get paid out of.
And but such a program would still require some staff time as well, too, wouldn't it?
Yes, but typically with the CDBG program, for instance, we float that staff cost through the general fund. Okay. So we have a planner on staff who kind of focuses on that. His day-to-day CDBG work is just paid through his regular responsibilities.
Okay. And you mentioned that if this was set up for nonprofits who would be interested or maybe interested in administering this, it would still have to be bid out.
Yes. So part of the NOFA process is just like an RFP. Okay. We would put that out there. We'd get some proposals, and then we would review them, and then it would come back to you. We would sign a contract, and then we would move forward. Yeah. I think one benefit here is that we're really we think that we can spend the money, and we've talked to, for instance, Family Promise. Do you think spending that much money in that period of time will be a problem? And they've assured us that they can meet the funding requirements to get it spent by the end of the next year.
May I ask a question? So let's say with option one, proceed with the RAM as loan. And I think to Mayor Pro Tem's point, if we set the interest rate at 0 and don't set the term as long as we can, I mean, it will basically function as a grant, right?
Yes.
So what is the problem with doing it that way?
We could, and we do that with the CDBG program. But even with the CDBG program, we get people who qualify for the loan and the grant, and they refuse the loan and only want to move forward with the grant. And we're afraid that this will happen with this program as well.
Yeah, because you see your point, and that's why I brought it up. But eventually, it has to be paid back at some point.
Yes.
That could be years down the road, of course, but it's going to have to be paid back at some point. That may put a chilling effect on people who may want to take advantage of this type of program like that. So. And I'm not. Do you mind if I ask another question? Sorry. I'm not clear on this prevailing wage thing. So, to me, that doesn't sound like a bad thing, to pay prevailing wages.
It costs more.
I mean, it costs more, but aren't the people who are doing the work entitled to prevailing wage? I mean,
make more money. Yeah.
So, on the other hand, does that tell me that these small contractors we're using are not paying what they should be paying to their workers to do comparable work? I mean, is that another way of looking at it? I think that's a negative way of looking at it, but it kind of is the opposite of what we're talking about here.
Yes. I think the challenge for the small contractors is they're not used to functioning in an environment with the sort of compliance requirements that the federal government would require.
So it's not so much they're paying what they're paying these people, but the rules and all the things paperwork they have to take.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They're just, for a small job, it just isn't worth their time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
And then along with the materials, don't the materials have to be purchased from a list that's approved also? As when we remodeled the council chambers, I remember that it had to be from a certain list even to get the carpet, and the carpet was 5 times more from this list that we used than if we went to a local carpet place to get the materials.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
And lastly, if we don't spend this money by the end of 2024, we lose it basically?
Yes. Yeah.
And will there be additional monies after 2024?
Yeah, every year we continue to receive an allotment.
Okay, and that's good for a year or something?
I think we get 18 months to program and spend the funds. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's hard. The first year they understood that cities needed time to kind of get up to speed, so we had additional time with the first 2 years. Yeah. I think it's
200?
based on the number of documents that are recorded, but it's about 100 to 200,000 in that range.
Any other council questions?
It was just more of a, Ms. Remus, are you gonna talk more about how option 2 might work, or in next slide, or should I ask to start?
No, I'm pretty much done if you want to.
So under option 2, you said it's similar to the sort of housing assistance program we had during the pandemic. So if you mind just elaborating and reminding us how it worked?
Sure. So with the COVID-19 funds, the council put some of that money, this was the CARES Act funds, were put into 2 different pots. One was for the commercial businesses and the other was for the rental assistance. For the rental assistance program, it was a first come, first served basis. In that case, people applied. They needed to demonstrate residency. They needed to demonstrate that there was a financial hardship. And then if they met the requirements, they were given up to 3 months of their rent. They had to provide us a lease agreement that demonstrated what that lease amount was. The property owner and I think the renter had to provide us a W-9 so that we could report the income to the federal government. And so we would go through that process of reviewing the applications. As soon as they were approved, that money was released monthly.
Yeah. Wasn't there a maximum amount?
I think
At the
Yeah,
time?
I think there was.
there must be, but I can't remember what that was at the
Yeah,
time.
it was like, okay.
We tried to spread it around as much as we could. so
Exactly,
we
yeah,
limited it,
yeah.
So what we have, kind of out of the blue, we've had an organic conversation with Family Promise, who is operating a similar program in Rosemead. In Rosemead, they offer up to $2,000 a month, for up to 3 months, I believe. Their program is focused, because Family Promise is about families, they focus the program on people who have a child at home under the age of 18. But in any circumstance for these program funds, the person would have to demonstrate that they're low income.
And the criteria could be set by the city council.
Yeah, you could
Just
set
like what we
criteria.
did during the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
And kind of a similar question to Councilmember Yu. Do these nonprofits like Family Promise or others have additional conditions of their own in the criteria that's added on top of whatever the city might decide?
I have Family Promises information, and actually, the executive director is here if you have questions about the program there. Okay. But they do have some requirements, and my expectation is that through the NOFA process, they would be providing you a kind of a set of guidelines that they would propose moving forward. What those requirements would be.
Okay. If, as Mr. Reimers mentioned, I don't know if anyone from Family Promise would be able to answer that question about the additional criteria or conditions that you may have.
I can answer that question. My name is Lenita Tadamy. I am the Executive Director for Family Promise of San Gabriel Valley. We work with many cities in San Gabriel Valley, many nonprofits, Door of Hope, many of them, Foothill Family, come to us for the rental assistance that we provide. Throughout the valley, and we focus more on the western part of San Gabriel Valley, which is this way. So far this year, we have served 36 adults and 73 children from becoming homeless through our rental assistance program. We provide $2,000. We have the criteria, we have guidelines. They have to have a W-9. They're in our case, we need them to provide a 3-day pay or quit, something that states that they are behind in their rent. And also, we have to have income. They must have income because we don't want to provide them funding for the rent, and then they're going to lose the house anyway because they don't have the income to support it. So we do case management with these families to make sure that they are going to be able to sustain the rent. So we don't just give them the money and drop them. We work with them for a 6-month period to make sure that they are going to be able to sustain themselves and, be self-sufficient.
And is it pretty much just rental assistance then, if you don't provide other services?
Yes, we provide move-in assistance. We provide a shelter. We work with congregations throughout San Gabriel Valley where we have a rotation program for our families that are homeless, and we work with them. They mainly stay there up to 90 days, and then we are able to get them housed. We've had 4 families this year that we've been able to house through our rotation program. So we provide also what we call a stabilization program, that when families do graduate from the program and they're housed, we keep in touch with them so that we make sure for at least, we say 6 months, but it goes longer than that because we build relationship. Homeless families and people at risk need relationships in order to keep themselves going.
So, you said 2,000 up to 2,000 per month?
That's per month, yes.
Per month. So, and then the program goes on for, you said 6 months. So it
Yes,
means
we
that
work
if
with
they
them.
need assistance, they can go up to, you'll be loaning them or giving them $12,000
No.
up to
The one-time assistance is for the families. We do 1 month.
1 month.
And that's it. But we case manage them for 6 months.
I see.
To make sure that they don't fall back into the same situation. So we walk alongside them and help them with, whatever they need. We do also have what we call a day center where families come. We do our case management there. We help them find housing. We allow them to do their laundry, take showers. We do all kinds of support. And we also partner with other agencies to provide services for these families to make sure that they don't fall back into homelessness again.
Thank you for sharing that. And I have one more question.
Yes.
In your experience working with either the city of Rosemead or any other agency in providing these services, is there any kind of interaction or collaboration with the school districts in identifying at-risk families that would meet
Yes.
that criteria?
Yes.
And can you maybe talk a little bit about how that works exactly?
So there is a McKinney-Vento worker at every school. And so we have, throughout San Gabriel Valley, high schools, elementary schools have sent families our way to make sure that we can be able to assist them. There was one point where we had a contract with one school district, so we were able to go over there and work with them. And we were able to have a case manager on site of the school, and we were able to provide them with services. And so right now, we don't have that any longer, but we do still provide the services to school districts that ask us for services for their families. And right now, we're trying to work with the Temple City Unified School District. We've sent them a letter stating, letting them know the services that we provide and that we would love to be able to sit down and speak with them regarding, helping their families that are at risk, or there's a lot of homeless families that are at schools. And what has happened is the cities and everybody who did the homeless count, they've counted homeless, but they don't count families because they're the ones that are in their cars. They don't get seen. So they say there's an additional 400 people that are homeless in San Gabriel Valley, but that's not a true number because you're not counting the families that are in their cars. And we had received a call from one of the libraries saying there's a family that is living in a car. Could we help them? We were able to take them and help them, give them supportive services, get them with the services that they needed so that they would not be in the library parking lot any longer.
So would it be correct to say you don't currently have a relationship with the school district in Temple City?
We do not have a relationship with the Temple City School District currently, but we don't have, when I say we don't have a relationship, we don't have a contract. We have relationships with many school districts because they send people over to us for their families that are in need of rental assistance, move-in assistance. Some of them are homeless. We've had families come through that had children in the school districts, that were homeless and were in our shelters.
So homelessness has been brought up a number of times at our meetings. This is the first time I've heard, this sounds like a homelessness program you have.
It
but
is.
This is the first time I've heard of this. Maybe it's time we need to look further into this because we have looked at those issues and we're kind of like, well, okay, what can we do as a city?
Yes.
But maybe this is a springboard to that, I don't know.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, that wasn't a question, and I shouldn't be making comments right now. Mayor's gonna get mad at me in a minute.
We have been in functioning in this level for 11 years, so fairly broad spread through the San Gabriel Valley and just doing really excellent work. So we do have a history in this. That's-
Do you work with the churches
We do. We have 10 churches that are a part of our rotation program.
in Temple City?
We have one in Temple
here.
City.
And who is
Yes.
that?
the
Who is
Methodist-
that?
The
It's
Methodist Church.
the Methodist
United
Church.
Methodist?
Mhm. And what they do is they take a family for 7 nights. They provide them with, and then they have partners that come in that provide the meal, and then they stay for 7 nights, and then they go to another congregation throughout the San Gabriel Valley.
Well,
It's part of the church's mission.
thank you so much for sharing and answering our questions. We
Sure.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, are there any other council questions for Mr. Reimers at this time? No? Okay. All right, if not, we will open the public comment for this item. Is there anyone who would wish to speak on this? Steve?
Mayor Mann, Mayor Pro Tempore Chavez, council members. I'd like to ask Scott a question. Are the loans fixed rate or adjustable rate?
Steve, thank you for the question, but we won't be answering those directly at this time. But if you have any other comments, feel free to continue.
It's very important because the Constitution calls for a fixed rate. And this is where the banks violated the law back in 2008 and caused a lot of people to be homeless. And they need to be a fixed rate loan according to the Constitution. Banks will take advantage of it. You know, right now the loans aren't that bad. If you wait and do a adjustable rate, it could be a 20% loan, and that's unconstitutional. Constitution says, and I wish you'd seen what I saw in Huntington Beach walking my dog. Some kid did a paper on it. And this is what Franklin Roosevelt, one of our presidents, required: a fixed rate at an affordable, a fixed rate loan at an affordable rate. And that's what was required. The banks tried to take it apart and make it an adjustable rate. A friend of mine ended up homeless. This has to be prevented in this. You can't let it drag out. Secondly, I'd like to see a charity provide the loans, because a charity will have to do that at a fixed rate. I don't think the city providing it is a good idea. I think a charity providing it. And I'd like to say to you that it's a great idea, but you have a couple judges.
Steve, you're addressing. Steve, I'd like to remind you, you're addressing the city council and not
Steve.
anyone in the audience. You're addressing the city council. Please don't
I want to
disturb the
tell her this
audience.
too, because there's a couple judges. One of them can't even sit at his bench to do it, and he just rattles off judgments that are unconstitutional. Tried to do one when I was involved with my brother over a dispute that shouldn't have even been in his court. We have to watch these judges. South Pasadena just passed a law similar to this, making it illegal for a landlord to foreclose or sue somebody over sue a renter to try to evict them. for no reason. They have a no clause, what they call, it forbids a landlord for foreclosing.
Steve,
for no
please wrap up.
suing
You are
for
out of
no
time.
clause. That needs to be done here, like South Pasadena did. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the city council at this time? All right, seeing none, I will close public comment and we'll go into final council discussion. First, we'll start, Mr. Stafford. Steve, please do not disturb members of the public. Thank you. First, for council discussion, we'll start with Councilmember Sternquist.
I really like the option 2. I think that program, when we helped the residents with the rental assistance, was extremely valuable. And I think it was a very positive, the way it was ran. And I think at the time when we had the monies, we looked at both the businesses and the rental assistance. And I remember, Tom, you were thinking at that time that you'd like to see more go to the rental assistance.
For the residents.
For the residents. So I think this is a great option for us.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll go to Councilmember Viscar.
I can only echo what Councilmember Sternquist said.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Yu.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think given the, I mean, I liked proceeding with the RAM as long as subject to hearing wage, but doesn't sound like we have enough time to really expand that money. So I really don't think we have much of an option but to go to option 2. And I like what I heard from Family Promise, but I was just wondering. Maybe this is more of a question and along with a comment. When we put out the RFP for participation with a nonprofit, for partnership with a nonprofit, we'll be able to stipulate what the city would like to see, right? In
Yes, absolutely.
For example, like I heard that they were providing loan or not loan, it was a subsidy for 1 month. Let's say if the city wanted this, because we did like 3 months before, right? If we wanted 3 months, we could make that a requirement.
Certainly, yeah. We can put our preferences in the NOFA and then see how they respond to it.
Yeah. I'm glad. And also, I guess part of the RFP would be their, not promise, is their approach to expanding that money and show us that they have a track record of performing for that period of time with the money that we have. And then also would be at least assisting families in Temple City first.
Exclusively.
Or exclusively, either way, yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. And with that, I think I will concur with the rest of my council members.
All right, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Chavez.
Yeah, thank you. Well, for me, I'm not sure option 1 is necessarily dead in the water, although I recognize the challenges that have been identified, and it sounds to me that those may be very difficult to overcome, just given the time frames and the restrictions. So I definitely would like to get more information on option 2 and things that we can or cannot do, and certainly is to me a good option. We have a history already of going in this direction, and it sounds like we may be able to even add on to that, which we've done before, as far as assistance. So, yeah, I'm in favor of getting some more information and having staff bring a little more information back on option 2, or do whatever it takes to get that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I do have one more question. So if council shall go with option 2, what's the time frame in which the criteria and the parameters for the NOFA will come back to us for review?
That's a great question for Adam. I wish he was here.
He told me he was going to be here tonight when I saw him this morning.
I know, he went home sick today.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. It probably will take us, I would guess, between 2 to 4 weeks to put together the NOFA. We'll release it, probably give the nonprofits about 30 days to respond to it. And then we'll review them, and then we'll bring back the results of the notice of funding availability. So we'll bring you the proposals for approval. My expectation is, or my hope is that that will move us quickly into a set of guidelines for the program, and then we can roll the program out probably in the spring. That would be my hope. There might be some notification requirements we have to do, like with the CDBG program, we have to public notice it. So I'm not sure about that component, but that probably can be worked into the timeline.
So what I'm hearing is we would actually go out with the RFP first. It comes back, and then the guidelines will be developed in tandem with the nonprofit.
My preference with programs like these is to really rely on the professionals to put together a really good plan for how they think it's best to address those who are at risk of homelessness in our community. We can give them some guidelines, some boundaries, what our preferences are, and see what they return with. And then from there, we can set up meetings with them to talk about, which one best meets what we think best meets the needs of this community, and then kind of move forward through that.
Okay, thank you. And so with that, I do also concur that option 2 is probably the best way to go, all things considered. We've also heard a little bit of council discussion about our preferences when it comes to how this program can and should be implemented. And part of the reason why I asked some of the questions related to the school district is because that's actually something the city manager and I have been talking for quite a while, is there's so much discussion and talk about the issue of homelessness, but people lose sight of the preventative aspects of what we can do, especially with the families. And I'm glad you brought up the example earlier of those who weren't counted. They're in their vehicles. They are technically homeless, or others who are on the verge. They're one paycheck away from not being able to afford the rent or affording essentials. So I think for Temple City, and I think my council colleagues would agree, I think that's an area that a lot of people can get behind. And this is a very opportune time, like to Mayor Pro Tem's earlier comment about, hey, this could be a springboard for something else that we can really make sense of and be very constructive in as a city. So I really appreciate the staff report, the detailed history and summary of what we can do, and also I appreciate you being here tonight representing Family Promise and being able to answer our questions so well. That was very, very helpful.
And if I may add just one.
Sure.
I think for this kind of program that I think we're kind of leaning towards, I think having the school district involved in some way would certainly be beneficial in its success, and probably something we can bring up at the next standing committee meeting and maybe assist whoever we choose eventually to get in the door, so to speak. And because at the end of the day, they're the ones who probably know more about who needs these types of services than we do as a city.
Yeah.
Scott, do you have to just choose one?
We don't have to. It would certainly make administering the contract much easier, and it would be more efficient. But yeah, if we found that one was better oriented at one task and another was we could do that.
Councilmember, you?
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment, if I may. I just want to echo my agreement with Mr. Reimers that as much as we have good, well intentions up here at the City Council, it's best to leave how the program, the running of the program, to the recommendation of the professionals who's been in this field, because they understand their clientele, and they have experience, they're proven record. I think that's what we need to look for when NRP is how well they've been doing and what they're proposing for our city. And then like to some of the things that you said, partnering with the city school district and all. And the amount of money that we're dealing with is not huge. So so how they best spend that, I think would be very good, well spent to look to the professionals to make that suggestion.
Sure,
So,
sure.
just my comment.
Sure. No, I appreciate that, and thank you, and also Mayor Pro Tem Chavez for bringing that point. I think we do have the next standing committee meeting coming up in January.
Yes, Mayor.
So we will note that and add that to the agenda for that.
Certainly.
And I think that is around the time when this process is going to perhaps kick into full, I don't want to say high gear, but when we're going to start getting some substantive feedback and perhaps get a better sense of how that program will take shape.
Yeah.
And so hopefully by the time we can at least share with the school district some of what the city's plans are, and then perhaps that could be the nexus to helping, should you be the consultant, well, again, we don't know. If you were, then that would be kind of the nexus by which we would try to connect them and see what's the greatest good we can build out of that relationship.
Certainly.
Okay. All right. With that, if there's no other council questions or comments, may I have a motion for this item?
Do we necessarily need a motion, or
Do we need a motion?
Direction?
Is it just direction is good?
I heard the direction of the entire council.
Okay.
That's what we needed. Thank you so much.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. All right, next we move on to item 11, which is an update from our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor Mann and members of the council. On the dais for you is the annual property tax newsletter from HDL Consultants. As you'll see, property tax and property transaction activity is still robust, but it is seeing a slight downturn in terms of some of the sales transactions and the assessed valuation, but still remains stable. It is between VLF and our property tax. It is our most important revenue source. So this is the public document for anybody. We'll post this on the website. You can see who our larger property tax payers are in the city, and just kind of some general trends of what is happening both statewide as well. But we are a property tax-based city in terms of our revenue stream. So it is great to see the stability and appreciate HDL's continuing work with us. With that as well, I will have Mr. Matsumoto, our Parks and Recreation Director, give you a quick update on this Saturday's event, the Community Planting Day and Public Art Unveiling.
Great. Thank you very much, City Manager Cook. Good evening to the City Council. We do have our Community Planting Day and, per most part, the Public Art Unveiling ceremony this Saturday. That's going to be on December 9th. The first portion of the event will be our Community Planting Day. That's from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And not only does that help us backfill some of our landscaping plants and that have died out over the course of the establishment period, but it also completes one of our final components of the original state grant that we have for the park. After the community planting portion of the day, we are going to be unveiling our tile mural as well as our bronze statues at the park. So it's been a long process, but we are really excited to show the community the mural. It's a wonderful design that really reflects a lot of Temple City, the Temple City community. So we're excited about that.
So the unveiling isn't going to be till like 11?
Till 11 o'clock, yes.
Because I might not be able to be there at 9 o'clock, so I'm not going to miss anything.
No, not at all. We'll be planting at the first part of the event, so you're more than welcome to come if you want to
participate. When you say we are, is that staff?
Staff will be there to guide and assist, but it's actually going to be a volunteer planting, so we've been outreaching to our volunteer base to invite them out and be a part of that day. And then we'll have our ceremony at 11 o'clock. We do have our artist, Mike Tauber, who's going to be present, as well as two members of our Art Element Ad Hoc Committee. So that's Robert Hepler and Kathy Keelan will be present as well. We also, I can also just let the community know that next week we are going to be doing our judging for the holiday decorating contest. So if you would like your house to be judged, we just ask that your lights be turned on by 5 o'clock on both of those judging days. So that's the evenings of Tuesday, December 13th, and Wednesday, December 14th. So those are our 2 judging days.
Are we eligible to compete?
Everybody is eligible in the entire city.
I don't think you were.
Thanks, Adam.
I don't think
I
you
think
were.
you need to put up a few more lights.
Have you been by?
And one last event to note, as as the council's been discussing more public safety programming this Thursday at Live Oak Park at the community center from 5 till 7 p.m. Will be a fraud prevention workshop put on by experts from the sheriff's department to talk about a broad range of anti-fraud or fraud prevention measures individuals can take, and that will couple with going into next year a specific identity theft workshop and shredding event that we'll be doing as well. But kickoff will start with come this Thursday. That's my report for tonight, Mayor Mann.
All right, thank you. And also thank you, Director Matsumoto, for the updates. We appreciate it. Yeah. All right, next we update from our city attorney, Mr. Murphy.
Sure, very brief one tonight. Some of you may have heard in the news, but certainly this is bigger in the legal community, the Taxpayer Protection and Government Accountability Act, which qualified for the ballot, has been challenged by the governor, members of the state legislature, and joined by the League of California Cities, the California Association of Counties, and other public entities across the state. Certainly, protecting taxpayers and holding government accountable are really great things, but the act goes a bit beyond that, and it severely limits the ability, in our case, of local government to raise fees, to change taxes, and really to fund the normal operations of government. So the matter has been challenged, and the California Supreme Court took original jurisdiction, which means the matter doesn't have to go through the courts to get there. It immediately goes to the California Supreme Court. And last week, the Supreme Court issued an order asking the proponents why this should not be stricken from the ballot. So briefing will be completed this spring, and there will be a hearing in May because the challengers said this all has to be worked out by June so that the Secretary of State's office either puts it on the ballot or does not, so that we avoid confusion. In agreeing with that and pushing this forward, the Supreme Court seems to be indicating that they've got some issues with it. That's thing one. Thing two, the League of California Cities legislative report came out last week. I started reading it last night. Over 500 bills are summarized. So as a firm, we're looking at it. We will get a summary to Mr. Cook that I'll forward to the council of bills of special interest to contract cities. And along with that, a list of things that we should consider doing in 2024 to react to some of these bills. So that report's on its way before the end of the month. Thank you.
Greg, I recently heard that there is a rent control initiative on the ballot in November for municipalities. How can you find out how that would affect us?
I will take a look.
If that
Absolutely.
should pass? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Murphy. Next, we'll move on to council reports on ad hoc or standing committee meetings. Do we have any for this evening? Nope. All right, we have none. Next, we go to council items separate from the regular agenda. Tonight, why don't we start over here with Councilmember Vizcarra?
I really don't have anything to report out on. I'm sorry I missed the parade on Friday night. I had family issues, and but I understand it was very successful. It always is, and I always enjoy it. So.
We had real cars.
Real cars?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Okay. All right, thank you. Next, Councilmember Yu.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To piggyback on Councilmember Vizcarra, we're a wonderful lights in Temple City. So congratulations to Mr. City Manager and Mr. Matsumoto and the city staff. Everybody's doing so well. I was really, really impressed. It seems even better than what I could remember. So it's a wonderful experience. So thank you. It's a great event. Yeah. I love to attend your planting event. Unfortunately, I have my own park dedication, so so I would not be unable to make it. So.
Vincent, you park?
No, I build parks for a living, so.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Yu. All right, next, Councilmember Sternquist.
Few things. Jing, I see is here.
She's snuck in.
I still use my bookmark that you gave us the last time. When will those be available in the library to pick up, or will you bring us some again? Yes. Okay.
See, I told you we had to get
Yeah, we
Oh,
like those.
Okay, yeah,
Thank you.
those are always nice, so thank you.
I want to give a shout out to the Women's Club. The holiday party was lovely, and it's just a nice community event, and especially because our sheriffs, our dedicated team, was honored with a humanitarian award by the club. So congratulations to them, so well deserved, and it was really nice to see them bashfully go up to the stage to receive the award. This Friday, Foothill Transit is having their 35th anniversary celebration. It's from 11:30 to 1:30, and it's lunch. They will have the electric bus out for people to see and probably just ride around the corner, and also the hydrogen fuel cell bus. So they will have those out. They have some toy buses, double-decker toy buses to give away that are a really big hit. So if you can make it out to Vincent Avenue.
Small toys or?
They're
Oh,
about
okay.
this big, double-deckers.
They were giving
but-
double-decker buses away.
They're really cute. Yeah. So that's this Friday. And let's see, I think that's it. And then I was going to ask Greg, which I did, about the rent control initiative. So, okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez.
Just, again, I thought the holiday parade was nice,
that
very
too,
nice event. Adam, thank you for getting that organized. Although I did have a question. It seemed to me that it was later than normal. And the reason I say that is because we didn't end the parade until almost 8 o'clock, which only gave us an hour before the end of the event. And it seemed to me that we always had more time after the end of the parade. Am I wrong on that? Or have we always started the parade at 7 o'clock? Just seemed later. Or maybe because I don't think the parade started at 7 o'clock though, did it? No, I don't think so. Because I was looking at my watch and I said 7:10 and we were still sitting there on the street. So it didn't start at 7 o'clock. Maybe that's the problem. But I wasn't the only one. I know people come up to me and say, didn't we start this earlier? So I don't know. I always thought we did, but I guess we didn't. But other than that, it was fine. I thought it did a great job. The weather cooperated. I think, did the snow finally melt out here? I don't know if I know yesterday it was still there.
Getting there.
Getting there. Okay.
Still there.
Good job. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And I too enjoyed the Lights on TC as always. I think this year seems like we had more people. I don't know if everyone else got the same feeling, but
I think there were a lot of people there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, leading up to the lighting, I felt the park was just bustling. So again, great job to our Parks and Rec team as well as all the volunteers that contribute to make that possible. There's so many that are part of that program, so I really appreciate it. I also want to echo Councilmember Sternquist's comment on the Women's Club. I want to congratulate them on that. Apparently, they're celebrating their 98th anniversary as of yesterday, I think, right?
Still being there, maybe.
Yeah, 98th anniversary. So they're just 2 years off from our centennial. And also, again, I thought it was very nice of them to honor our special assignment team with the humanitarian award. I believe they mentioned it was the first time they're starting that award. So I thought that was very appropriate to begin with our three fine deputies there. And when they were escorted up by the ladies, I felt like it was some kind of Mr. Temple City event, I guess, not Miss Temple City.
They needed
so-
a crown.
Were they in
Yes.
uniform?
They were in uniform, yeah. And so that was very successful and very nice. So congratulations to them on that. And I too am looking forward to the community planting and the unveiling of the mural. I know Primrose has been there for it's almost 2 years now, right? Since we opened. So I think this last piece really completes the park. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Actually, Mayor, may I just add it now that you brought up something
Sure.
I forgot to mention.
Yeah, of course.
You know, LA Times recently have an article about the 14 special parks in Los Angeles area, and guess who's listed number 1? Primrose Park. Congratulations, Mr. Matsumoto.
Yeah, actually, I thank you for bringing that up. I think my favorite part about that article is it mentions that while it's small, but it packs a lot of punch. I think that's what the
Small but
article
mighty.
is saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a high compliments to our team that worked on that. And lastly, I do want to share that I had the pleasure of speaking at the high school in front of the Junior State of America Club, who is actually led by no other than one of our youth committee members, Amir King. So they were very welcoming, and they asked some really good questions. And every time I leave the high school, I always come away with the impression that the kids are all right. They're bright, they're smart, they know what they're doing. They know more than us. And so when they take over, I'm pretty confident Temple City will be in good hands. So that was a very, very nice experience. All right, with that, I will move on to our last thing before we adjourn, which is additional public comments. Is there anyone who would like to address the City Council? All right, seeing none, I will close public comments, and I will adjourn. Have a good evening, everyone.